Hello everybody, sorry for the slight delay. I'm just refreshing my stream over here and I think it looks like we'll be good to go very shortly. There we go. We are watching the Super Mario World No Cape No Star Wars tournament right here on SpeedGaming. This is a closing group match. Not many matches left in the group stage. We're going to be getting through hopefully all of them over the course of the next week. And this one is between DunkelGotik versus Suidt. Looks like Dunkel has already qualified, picked up the 2 wins, and with the remaining matches in the group, this is Group H, it looks like there's no way that 2 matches won't be enough to go through. However, Suidt can still take the group. Only played 1 match so far and could win the remaining 2 matches to top the group. That will be significant for the seeding in the next round because the group leaders will all be getting better seeds than the group runners-up. So all to play for here. This is No Cape No Star World, so obviously the runners can't grab the cape. That means we're going to see a lot more on the ground platforming, a lot less free levels. Every level has some degree of difficulty and this route really ramps up as we progress from world to world. We'll see the risks and potential time losses increase. First level, no problem for either of the runners. Both going for the 361, I think. Neither of them getting it. That's just a bit of a look. Bit of swag. Getting the 361 doesn't really save much time. As we head into Yoshi's Island 3, going for the box jump here. Dunkel gets it, very nice, and Suidt also getting that box jump. That's a little test of the nerves early on. Now for the rest of this level, the runners are going to be looking to maximise the time spent running along these brown platforms, and that is going to grab them an extra few frames, allowing them to finish the game, finish the level, while the timer is still on 2:59. And looks like Suidt gets it and Dunkel doesn't quite make it. And now we wonder if either of the runners are going to go for a shell jump here, a mid-air shell jump in Yoshi's Island 4. It's not a massive time save, only a few tenths, but it's pretty impressive to get. I don't think Dunkel went for it, just chucking that shell up. Suidt did look like they made an attempt, not quite getting that down. So honours even in that one. So I don't really know where the time save was made, but it looks like Dunkel is a fair bit ahead. I wonder if they're both on the Japanese version, and they both have very similar run times. I wonder if there's a timer started slightly late or slightly earlier, but in any case that would only be the odd frame. As both having fairly decent. Oh no, Suidt taking a plunge into the lava. And that's a sad time loss in level in World 1. As Dunkel going through the midway to get to the big Mario and is going to be picking up the fire here. Going to be able to get the fire killer on Iggy. As second time of asking, Suidt makes it no problem with a 280. Okay, that makes sense. It looks like Dunkel had an extra 2 seconds on the timer at the start. The timing in this category, and really most categories in Super Mario World, starts when Mario appears. So usually runners will set a -2.2 on their timer and start that timer at exactly the same time as they start the run. And that'll work out exactly at 0 seconds when Mario appears. But it looks like Dunkel takes a full cutscene lead. Cutscene's worth of time, but there's plenty of time to be gained and lost. And as I say, the time losses, the potential time losses, just get bigger and bigger every world, until it probably peaks at around Chocolate Island. So Dunkel here is going to be getting the Yoshi only very temporarily, so that Dunkel can ditch the Yoshi and get up to the high platform with the key. The intended strat there is probably to get the green Switch Palace and come back, but no need for our runners. So we'll see the same thing attempted by Suidt before we get to the interesting part of Donut Secret 1. So it has the Yoshi. And, oh, interesting. There's a slight difference, not jumping off the green pipe, and you can still make it up. Not sure I knew that. As Dunkel's going to look to kill these fish, get them out of the way, or just swim under. Certainly killing this last fish. And anytime you're in a water level, you want to maximise the time you can be holding an item, because you swim an awful lot faster with an item. Can be tricky to swim up with the item though. I'm not sure if that was on purpose, but Dunkel dropping the item makes it much easier to swim up, but then of course you go slightly slower for that final horizontal stretch before the end. I think unless you're confident you can have a very good climb, throwing the item up, swimming, and re-grabbing it. Same for Suidt. Just going ahead without the item for that last little stretch at the end. As Dunkel's going to look to get an early P-speed before the ghost gets it. And when you've got P-speed, the camera will follow you up as you run. We'll see if Suidt can get the same. As Dunkel heads into Donut Plains 3. Definitely the trickiest level these runners have hit so far. And although the run does, on average, gradually increase, this is definitely a difficulty spike as Suidt gets that nice spook climb. And Dunkel looking for that. It's tight to get the P-speed at the start, and that is only the start of that level's difficulty. So I wonder how practiced Dunkel is at a small Mario. There's no problem being small Mario here, but if you're practiced only as Fire Mario, it can be tricky. So Dunkel going for the Shady Vine. Very sensible strat. Guarantees that you get up to those clouds. Interesting. Times out the exact time to jump there, so no left-right required. As Suidt goes for the more difficult strategy and takes a death. So perhaps a chance to have caught up there, but also taking a death. And a slightly more costly death, being a little deeper into the level. And Suidt is still going for broke, going for the big strats. I'm not sure exactly what the plan was there. I think if you get good frame parity, you can jump on that Koopa and make it up to the block. Well, that's fairly YOLO. So just taking the safe route, keeping in touch in this matchup, and there will be plenty of time to catch up for the end. As Dunkel got the fire back, safely got to midway, picking up the Yoshi. Now there's going to be a choice here. Perhaps pick up a backup Fire Flower, or perhaps go for the star to make the end of this level a little easier, not having to worry about the enemies, and can just jump onto this platform at the end. Picking up a 235 there. So a little slower than we'd usually expect. I guess took a bit of time to get those power-ups. As we see Suidt going for the blue shell strat. As Dunkel, very nice room 1 in Morton. And Suidt is going for that fire, waiting a couple of cycles. Hopefully the blue shell will last all the way to the finish here. Just giving it a quick refresh at the end, and whoa! Sneaking in between those Goombas. Don't usually see that. as it's Dunkel's time now to try and, I imagine, grab this spring and jump on the dragon. Makes it through. Now has an opportunity to use that spring later on to skip a cycle. Given that there was a slight slowdown there, might not really need the spring. It might be better just to abandon the spring. I think that's a really good call. Although I think has also missed the whole cycle. Now probably wishes to have the spring back. So decent time save here for Sweet Tea. Both runners having fire. So we'll see Dunkel now 2 fireballs and a jump, and that'll be all for Morton. Sweet Tea also gets the spring through the first section. See if Sweet Tea can get a little bit faster through the second section. This is a really nice climb. And uses the spring. That's quite a chunky time save. That's pulled this race right close again. So we saw both runners managing to get the Yoshi through Donut Plains 4. So they'll both be able to go for the much simpler blue shell strat, where they'll grab the blue shell, which will allow Yoshi to fly, as we saw Sweet Tea do in Donut Plains 4. And that's the simplest way to get up to the section with the key and the keyhole for the secret exit. So Dunkel, quite a safe grab. And not opting to go for the backup fire flower there. Finishing with the 374, we'll see how Sweet Tea can compare. No major mistakes, but definitely potential for Sweet Tea to make up a couple of seconds there. Sweet Tea does go for that backup fire. I like that idea. So still managing to save a couple of in-game seconds, but additionally with the backup fire flower, which can save a lot of time should you need it on the way to Ludwig. As Dunkel also opts not to take the backup flyer in Vanilla Secret 1. A Sweet Tea. Nice climb, 279, not too far from the 280 there. So Dunkel looking for the Yoshi mount. Kills that Koopa with fire, so doesn't need to grab it. The Yoshi tongue. It's a section you really don't want to take a hit. That backup flower is just begging to be grabbed, but Dunkel doesn't go for it. Sweet Tea doesn't get the nice Yoshi mount, so he's going to have to make their way through without P-speed. It's going to be a little tricky. Makes a really decent fist of it. Couple of Yoshi damage boosts. And Sweet Tea as well isn't going to be carrying that shell. Can be nice at the end just to kill the Chuck with the shell. If he spawns all his buddies, Sweet Tea didn't give him a chance to do that. If he does, he can cause a bit of lag. See if Dunkel goes for any Yoshi eats. Sorry, Dolphin eats. Lost P-speed for a moment in the middle level, but managed to regain it quite nicely. And again, just taking a dip in the water slightly early, so potential time save again for Sweet Tea. I think over the course of the last couple of worlds, Sweet Tea just gradually grabbing a second or two here, a second or two there, and now the time gap really is coming fairly close. So interesting. I was surprised Dunkel didn't grab the fire. I guess it just wasn't in the plan to grab the fire, and then just didn't want to change plans just because it had spawned. But I think once you've lost P-speed there, and you've spawned the flower, I think it makes sense just to pick it up. Hopefully it doesn't matter, and Dunkel keeps fire all the way through to Ludwig and can then pick up a backup flower in Forest of Illusion 1. The underwater fort should be fairly simple for these guys, as Dunkel is the first runner to take on the first Reznor of this run. Let's hope Reznor's nice. Very nice Reznor. Just with that last fire at the end, could have been tricky, but Dunkel quick enough to kill Reznor. And when you kill the last Reznor, all the fireballs despawn. And even better from Suidt. And it's great that we have a nice close race here, but unfortunately it does mean we have the double vision in Butterbridge 1, so fun times ahead. We'll see if either of the runners go for any swag. As long as they don't lose Yoshi, it's all good. There's some nice frame perfect jumps by Suidt, sometimes not letting the platforms go down. We'll see how many lives Dunkel goes for. Just the single. Both runners having a really nice run, so we don't want to think about game overs at this point, but I always feel a little bit more comfortable with a few lives in the bag, just for those worst case scenarios where things start to spiral out of control in the much more difficult second half of this run. See if Dunkel goes for the 3-1 up there. Yeah, taking the total to 7. That should be plenty. Dunkel nearly finishing up here. Get me out of there. Nice, even on Butterbridge 1 you can see Dunkel had a strat there, just waiting on the left side of the screen until all those Koopas are clear before going into that pipe. Didn't want to take any risk at all of losing that Yoshi. So, Suidt out there as well, finally. Now, Dunkel into Butterbridge 2. Now, with Yoshi, this is quite a simple level as long as you get the blue shell grab. If that goes wrong, then it can get kind of tricky, but no problem for Dunkel. Now, difficult to tell. I usually go neutral here once I've grabbed the blue shell. On average, it probably loses you time, but more often than not, it will save you time. So it's kind of an interesting trade-off of a frame or two either way. Going neutral, of course, fixes your speed as long as Mario is in the air, such as when flying with Yoshi. If you want no flying, no Starward, I point you towards no Starward, small only. It's close enough. It's also a pretty cool category. We saw Pigeon pulling off the all castles small only. Dunkel wisely pulling out of that at the last minute. That's the trickiest jump in that section. We'll see if Suidt goes through it. I think it's a really valid race strat to probably go for a forward scroll early on in the room, but generally runners don't seem to fancy that and go full-blooded for the no scroll strat. It's just quite tight to get a big Mario through that gap. As we see, the real advantage of keeping fire here, Dunkel with the 2 fireballs and Suidt just behind, 2 fireballs and a jump, saves a really long cycle of Ludwig spinning around everywhere. And also a tricky cycle skip which would be needed to avoid that happening twice if you didn't have fire. And Suidt, yeah, almost caught up now. And I believe Suidt does have the backup flower already. You can pick it up for almost no time loss. Oh no, it's Dunkel who has the backup fire. So a slight advantage on top of the few seconds. No, I was wrong again. Dunkel needs to pick up the backup flower for a strat later on in Roy's castle. It shouldn't cost more than a few frames to pick up, if done perfectly. We'll see if Dunkel goes for it. He's going for a safer strat. Going for the star grab. That means Dunkel has turned down the opportunity for a fire kill on Roy. Or certainly turned down the opportunity to get a fire kill and a skip of the second half of the coin snake. So Forest of Illusion 2 Yoshi Kip could be really critical here. When you remount Yoshi, Yoshi moves to Mario's horizontal position and Mario moves to Yoshi's vertical position. So by dropping Yoshi down just to the side of a piece of the level, you can remount, and Dunkel gets it first time, and Suidt doesn't get it. Clipsane does everything right, but the game said no, and now Yoshi is taking a jump on the floor, and Yoshi's subpixel now is completely unknown, so the game can be cruel. Worked so hard, level upon level, picking up seconds at a time. Almost had completely caught up with Dunkel. And then that happens. That's really cool. Now, a long way to go. It's not over yet. But that was pretty harsh. Suidt just making sure to keep under the level. Could be a disaster if, when attempting to pick up that throw block, he went into the level. But then picking up the key. That faster swim. Dunkel, we'll see if Dunkel goes for the wall clip on wall jump. Doesn't go for it. Doesn't save very much time. So going directly for the swing strat, the power-ups should be where Dunkel expects them to. See, interesting there, Dunkel able to almost push through the mushroom. Suidt couldn't really do that without losing the backup fire flower. So having to opt for a slightly different strat. As Dunkel makes it through the 250. Looks like we could be back to the familiar pattern of Suidt just picking up the odd in-game second or two. 3 in-game seconds picked up there. And an opportunity to make a more sizable chunk up here in Roy's. I imagine Dunkel is going to want to damage boost through the second section. But I wonder, will Dunkel go for picking up that mushroom? Not going to help for a faster Roy kill, but it is nice to have that mushroom. Suidt definitely will want to maintain the backup power up. I don't think Dunkel has scrolled forward, so I'm not going to keep that mushroom. And it does make the timing a lot easier for this section. You saw Dunkel didn't damage boost on the ceiling, but damage boost on the floor, and that enabled the iframes to start much later. Whereas Suidt doesn't quite get it. I'd scrolled the screen forward, released the power up early, but perhaps a little bit too early there. So misses the chance for a quick kill, and so just like Dunkel before, going to have to go for those 3 bounces on Roy. Still picks up perhaps an in-game second or 2. No, in fact, exactly the same, 214. Both pretty much perfect Roys, apart from not being able to get that fire kill. Let's see, let's keep an eye on the time just as we enter Chocolate Island. So around about 23:56 there from Dunkel. And they're definitely within a death. Oh, picking up that mushroom early. Interesting, going for the butt slide. Does mean you get up to speed very quickly, but you don't have P-speed. You're never going to be able to maintain that. Dunkel going for the early pipe. Interesting. Not seeing Chocolate Island 1 quite going to plan for either of them, but it's interesting to see how the backups get on. Dunkel picking up a Yoshi, a safety Yoshi. Don't often see this. But with a lead, Dunkel just needs to really avoid big time losses and try and maintain this. But they're almost completely tied now. Now, Dunkel not going to be able to take Yoshi into the ghost house, but it's going to be a useful safety feature later on through Chocolate Island. Very tricky world. So with barely a second between them, wonder who's going to go for the fast door here. As soon as you see the door, the floor will be slowly receding away from the door. You've got to really get in the first time or wait for the floor to come back. I think it looked like Dunkel was always going to be waiting there, having lost P-speed. Whereas Suidt really forging ahead here. Both of them going for the D-boost strat, the traditional chocolate secret, and very nice from both runners. And finally, I think we can say an official lead for Suidt. The Yoshi clips have been all forgotten at this stage. But perhaps Suidt is slightly more vulnerable for a death here without that Yobby strat. Okay, I've lost Dunkel momentarily. So I'm going to keep an eye out on this second room in Chocolate Island 2. Lots of runners have different jump positions for this section. But Dunkel doesn't have P-speed, so looks familiar with the strat though. Suidt a bit of key swag at the end there, picking up the 268. And Dunkel makes it through with Yobby. Doesn't need to take that damage boost with Yoshi. As Suidt now, as Small Mario, has to be worried, is not worried, just YOLOs it through the chucks. That is crazy. In such a close race, having worked so hard for the lead, putting it all on the line here. We see Dunkel taking it a bit safer, just grabbing that shell and taking a break to get the early mushroom. The advantage of Suidt is no time lost and picking up the midway, which is nice for safety, just in case, and also gets you to be big without the power-up transition. So as Dunkel takes a slide down the quite simple room 2, Suidt gets that early P-speed and just now heads onto these tricky-some yellow platforms. Perhaps deliberately there, just slowing down at the end, just to make sure that those steep slopes yellow platforms at the end don't eat the jump. Dunkel interested in going for the fire flower. Just extra safety, I guess. There are no more bosses that can be quick killed with fire left in the run. I have a commentary team, separate, Kuchri. Just give that a quick refresh there, just in case that message sounds like I'm behind. So I rejoin it now as Suidt has made it through Wendy's. So that, oh no, and Dunkel takes a death. Just slightly slow on the cycle there. I was just giving the stream a quick refresh, missed the early part of that cycle. Sweet Tea, oh my goodness. That's a bad death to take. The final hit on Wendy there just pulled out. If you're not very quick with the first two hits, then if Wendy spawns in the middle on the final hit, it can be very tricky with the fireballs. Sweet Tea, looks like Sweet Tea didn't pick up the midway. I've missed that. A lot of runners do prefer to be Small Mario just to make that second room a little easier. However, it is really risky in a race. As Sweet Tea takes a death on the second attempt through room 1. Let's focus on Dunkel here. It's extra tricky, I feel, when you lose P-Speed in room 2. It's tight for that cycle, but Dunkel makes it through to Wendy. And we see Sweet Tea waiting for the saw there. That's hit 1 for Dunkel. Hopefully Sweet Tea does pick up, does not go for the midway. Once bitten, not shy at all, going all in. Just keeping it exciting for us. Taking that really tough jump when you lost P-Speed in Wendy's room 2. Fearless now. Maybe Sweet Tea feels like to catch up yet again for the, I don't know how many of time in this race. Feels it has to go hard for the strats. And again, getting that middle Wendy spawn on the final one, and just a little scared of those fireballs. And Dunkel takes, I don't know, I'll guess at like 20 to 30 seconds here, we'll see. Fade out, or fade back in around mid-40s on the clock. Try and keep an eye out on Sweet Tea at that same point. As Dunkel's room 1 should be fairly simple in the ghost house. In the sunken ghost ship even. Okay, perhaps looking like more like 30 seconds for Sweet Tea, something like that. Around about the 30 seconds. So Dunkel is going to want to not slow down anymore. Hopefully, if Dunkel doesn't have to slow down any further, then it will still just about be fast enough so that this boo cloud is still active when... Oh, has to wait, okay. Going for the scroll to try and save the boo ring despawn, but doesn't quite get it. Just allowing Sweet Tea. Wow, waiting on the first part of the boo ring, but swimming up through the second part. That really saves a lot of time going for that second swim through. Otherwise, Sweet Tea would have pulled back a lot of time. So we see Sweet Tea also not getting the despawn, but going a bit more YOLO. Is Sweet Tea gonna go for it? Wow, with everything on the line. Sweet Tea going for broke. Thank goodness Dunkel had a power up there. And orb! And this is by far the closest orb I've seen. Not long behind. Sweet Tea also picking up the orb. So Dunkel into Valley of Bowser. And definitely a few tricky levels to come. Even before we get to that fortress. Dunkel. I was tempted to say taking a wrong turn, but no pause at all. Could have just been the plan. Going bottom route. So that's fine, but it will just give a few seconds back to Sweet Tea. This very close race as well, just to remind you, could well decide the winner of this group. If Dunkel picks up the win, then Dunkel will definitely top the group with 3 wins out of 3. If Sweet Tea takes the win, then Sweet Tea will have one more match with the opportunity to top the group. Dunkel now with the left right at the beginning, just delaying slightly in order to get the sandbar. But doesn't quite keep speed. Again though, it looks like that could have been part of the plan because no hesitation makes a really quick, no P-speed second section. Ooh, just makes it through. Now, will we see a sandbar attempt? With a slight lead, I don't think Dunkel went for it. But if I had to guess, I think Suidt Tea might go for this sandbar to take the race perhaps. Looks like Suidt Tea just didn't quite go at the right time. So Suidt Tea's got it all out just to not lose a cycle and doesn't make it. So Suidt Tea not making normal cycle, granting another good chunk, 12-13 seconds added to Dunkel's lead. It's now looking like it could be Dunkel's to lose, but a very tricky fortress ahead. So Dunkel gonna go for an orange jump here and gets it. As if losing this sandbar cycle wasn't enough, Suidt Tea could also lose a few seconds to Dunkel if Suidt Tea doesn't also get that log jump. So let's focus on Dunkel here. It's not quite all over if Dunkel makes it through the fortress, but this is by far the trickiest part of the run remaining. And we see from quite early on Dunkel not going for P-speed, but once again it seemed like it was all part of the plan, but taking that hit there will not have been. Being small probably doesn't affect this section very much, just waiting out that fireball. Smart safety strats as we see Suidt Tea maintaining the P-speed is going to be a bit quicker if that can be maintained, as Resnor not particularly nice for Dunkel, but makes it through. Suidt Tea does gain a chunk here. Hopefully Resnor plays nice, and very good by Suidt Tea. Certainly a death away. Dunkel will feel like the ball's in their court. Let's hope we see a nice dark room. And now, because it's backdoor, there is going to be a midway here. Just allowing for that extra hit. So, all onto the Bowser fight. Doesn't even need to be a perfect Bowser fight, just as long as it doesn't spiral out of control for Dunkel. But all the pressure is going to be on. Certainly one of the closest races I've seen. Here you see Dunkel, you don't want to hit Bowser as quick as humanly possible for that first phase. You need to delay just slightly in order that that Mecha Koopa that Bowser will throw doesn't fall off the side of the screen. But safely through phase 1 for Dunkel. And Suidt Tea similarly going for a safe phase 1. Now Dunkel carrying the Mecha Koopa through that phase is, I assume, going to be looking for a ball skip. So Dunkel's going to let Bowser throw this first ball, but then run to the right hand side of the screen, chuck the Mecha Koopa up, and hopefully hit Bowser just after. Okay, interesting, going for a different kind of ball skip. Left hand side, but definitely got it. You see Bowser pause there and was just about to dip into the clown car for that second ball phase. See Suidt Tea going for the more traditional strategy for the ball skip, and also looks like that's a nice comfortable ball skip. But Suidt Tea misses that fourth hit, so that means no short cycle for Suidt Tea in the final phase. As Dunkel 2 hits to go. Gonna look for the insta hit here. Very good. That is going to shorten this final phase. And Dunkel here lining up. Get your GGs ready. We'll see if Dunkel going for the slightly safer strat, letting Bowser bounce once, and GG for Dunkel. That is time. I believe that also could be a PB for Dunkel, if speedrun.com is to be believed. Looked like a very late split. I think that was a solid 38. And certainly GG either way. And closely followed, around about 15 seconds plus whatever Dunkel lost on the split. Suidt not going for the split. And congratulations to both runners. Suidt can still pick up qualification. If challenge is up to date, Suidt has a race against Alogical to come, where Alogical could tie the group up at 1 wins apiece for Suidt, Akimaro, and Alogical. But Dunkel going ahead with 3 wins from the group. Congratulations. Definitely that Wendy death was a big one. And if you don't die to that final hit on Wendy, then you don't die then in room 1, subsequently in Wendy. But a fantastic race. One of the best I've seen. Several lead changes. Suidt closing the gap a lot, but ultimately a few big time losses meant that Dunkel was able to keep it together and pick up that nice win. And I wonder if that was a PB. That'd be all the sweeter if it was. Dunkel just saying in the race room, I think I did sub 39. You absolutely, definitely got that sub 39. No doubt about it. So while I wait to see if we're going to have an interview, let's have a look at the upcoming races. Looks like we do have a double header later. 6 PM EST. Xander versus Dots Are Cool on SpeedGaming 3 and Brams versus
days,
Mystical
guess,
on SpeedGaming
some runs
5.
You're really good and some runs you're really bad. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. Today was an off day, I guess. Yes, last night went decently well. I was surprised. I played really sloppy this morning. I second guessed myself a lot. I think that was like the main problem, was I second guessed all of my decisions. I felt like every time I tried to do something that was out of the ordinary, I started second guessing myself, which is not smart to do. I don't know. I'm really bad at losing. I'm definitely a very competitive person, so when it comes to like something like this, when stuff goes wrong, I mean, that's, to be honest, that's part of why I entered the tournament, was so I could work on my mental game when it comes to competitions. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of things in there that was kind of odd, but you know, it's whatever. So I have to do my next match, which I believe is next week. I think it's on the 8th. It's either 8th or the 9th. I have to do one more match. If I win it, then I think I'm in, or not. I'm not really sure what the strategy is there. I don't know. I'd have to talk to the people, the stream runners. Subtweet about the other guy? No, dude. I need to, I'm probably gonna eat. That's probably the first thing I'm gonna do. Is eat some food. That's the first strategy, is eat food. I'm starving. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go eat some eggs, I guess. Probably drink some water. Think about the old times. Yeah, you know, it's been a while. I don't know, man. Either way, though, guys, I appreciate the support. I'm sorry I disappointed. You know, I definitely could have played a lot better, but you know, it is what it is. I don't think Dunkirk played very well either, by our times being so close. But you know, it's just the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. Hopefully, next time I'm a little more up to par, a little more, you know, consistent with some of the stuff. I appreciate that MRAM arm. I appreciate that. You know, it's just one of those things. I'm hoping, you know, I'll try to stream again this week though. I gotta practice a little bit more so I can be more consistent. So expect some kind of stream this week. I don't know how many I'm gonna do, but I'm definitely gonna do some more runs so I can feel a little bit more consistent as far as the run itself goes. So maybe next time when we start falling apart, we are more, what's the word I want to say? I guess we have more ability to go for riskier strats without being so scared. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. If you want to see when I go live, just follow me on Twitter. It is twitter.com/SMW. I think that's my Twitter. Let me make sure it works. Yeah, that's you can follow me on Twitter. You can message me on Discord, I believe. I don't know if we're Discord homies. You can message me on Twitch if you want. I answer Twitch chat sometimes, like the message. When I have a Discord, I never really use it though, to be honest. And I personally feel like having a Discord would be a disservice for me personally, because I would feel the need to stream when you guys would ask me to stream, and that might not fall with my schedule. Do you know what I mean? You know, that's probably the best thing we can do, in my opinion. And then we'll go from there, you know? Yeah, see, I'm not about...
All right, thank you, Sweet Tea. That was a bit of an unusual interview. I don't know if you could guess. Sweet Tea didn't join the interview room, but was talking on their own stream. And we couldn't switch over audio to Dunkel because Dunkel, I believe, is interviewing over on the Portuguese SpeedGaming channel. But probably a better interview than I would have given anyway. So GG's to both runners. I think I already updated you guys on the matches later this evening at 6 PM EST, SpeedGaming 3 or SpeedGaming 5. So I think that's going to be it for me for now. I don't know where SpeedGaming is going to take you or what they're going to show. So enjoy whatever that is. But for me, it's bye-bye. Thanks, guys.